Hey guys, it's Lane here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're going to be doing our monthly ramble for the month of May. And today, I'm kind of tired. I had an exam earlier today, that's why it took me so long to make this video. And I don't want to talk about something kind of slightly sad or depressing or introspective like I have done for the last couple times, right? I talked about missed opportunities with hobbies, and I talked about my YouTube career, if you want to call it that. And I don't think that those were very happy or exciting videos to watch. They did relatively well for the channel, but I don't necessarily want to become like a person that thrives on negativity and sadness as like a YouTuber, right? I want to mostly be positive. And so I wanted to do something positive, happy, right? But I couldn't think of a good topic. So we're gonna think about something that isn't really good or bad, it just kind of is. And your preferences might make it good or bad, right? So today we're talking about what happened to the mass market paperback and why it seems like it's disappeared, what my thoughts on that are, why I like the mass market paperback, why you should like the mass market paperback, and why I ultimately think that it has disappeared, right? And in case you're not familiar, this is the mass market paperback. It's a small pocket-sized book. I think they are actually called pocket size in some other countries. You know, here's another one. And here's kind of a freaky one. This one is normal, but it's insanely thick because it's a Brandon Sanderson book, right? If you want to compare them to like a normal average size book, these are, you know, what books look like now. This is like the size comparison, right? And I mean, books have always been released in this size, and there's also other sizes, right? Like there's like the YA size, which is slightly smaller than that large book that I showed, but slightly wider. There's also the other mass market paperback, the one that's like this, but it's a little bit taller. And so it's like basically the size of a normal book, but half the size lengthwise, or widthwise actually. There's also hardcovers and stuff like that, right? And I think that there's a few reasons why the mass market paperback has disappeared, right? And I think that it was sped up by COVID and by, you know, the last couple years of how society has kind of had to move and evolve, right? And I don't necessarily think that it was not going to happen. Like I think that ultimately the mass market paperback was going away. It just happened a bit faster than I was expecting it to, because of COVID, I think, right? And I want to talk about that, and I want to mention why I think that is. And ultimately, I think it's because of a few things, right? Although books have basically always been a collector's item, right? If you think about like when books started being relevant, you know, or even before that, right? Before the printing press, each book took like months and years maybe, and it took like 50 people to make them. And so every book was, one, extremely expensive, and two, a treasure to be kept and protected, right? And so you can argue that books have always been a collector's item, right? Then after the printing press, when things became much more accessible and cheaper, they started to become less commoditized, I think is the right word. And then eventually we got to the point of like pulp fiction, right? Where you could just print a bunch of books in magazines and all sorts of stuff and expect people to throw them away afterwards, right? But I think that even then, the idea of collecting these stories, these pulp stories, into either proper novel formats or just keeping them in the same format that they were before, but just trying to protect those issues that you bought back in the day, was still relevant, right? And still prevalent. And then we move on to more modern eras, right? And I think it was like in the 80s or in the 70s maybe, when the mass market paperback became like big and accessible to everyone, right? And also the thing is that it has a really good price, right? They used to be like $7. I think now they're around 10, and it depends. Sometimes they're like $12, $13, like that Brandon Sanderson one. And sometimes they're like $5 if you get like a Louis L'Amour one. You know, sometimes if you get like a body stripper type book, you know, at like Walmart or Target or Walgreens or whatever, they might be $3, right? But the point is that they're cheap, accessible, small, they're, you know, very transportable. They fit in most people's pockets, or at least most men's pockets, because women usually don't have pockets, but it easily fits in a purse or a backpack or anything, right? And it honestly, they're only slightly bigger than your phone. So wherever your phone fits, these fit too, right? Like I'm holding it up to my phone right now, and it's only slightly larger than my phone. And that's kind of crazy, actually. Like there's like this much distance for the top, and then like that much distance for the side. So like my phone fits here all the way up to here, right? So it's an amazingly convenient way of having a book format or having a book printed, right? However, the problem is that, well, there's more convenient ways. You carry your phone all the time, well, you can download the Kindle app, and if you take your time and you wait and you're patient, you can probably get just about any book you want for like $1, right? And have it with you at all times, right? You technically don't own it, and it's pretty unlikely that you will be able to get downloaded if you want to use it somewhere else. But the book is always going to be with you, and you only paid $1. Compared to this, which, you know, at this point costs 8 or 10, and compared to this one, which costs 18, you know, or a proper, you know, hardcover that costs like 20 or 25 or $40. Digital books are insanely more accessible, right? And so I think that the problem with mass market paperbacks is that they no longer fulfill the niche that they used to, because there's better options, right? You know, you and I might like the mass market paperback better than reading on a phone or reading on an iPad, but that doesn't really matter because we'll still end up reading on our phones or on an iPad, right? I still do, even though I prefer reading physically, because if I bought a book for 99 cents, I'm gonna read it where I bought it for that price, right? I'm not gonna, you know, take the time to buy a second book physically and then read that one, right? And so I think that the niche just got removed, or like the mass market paperback fit a specific, you know, area, and other things have managed to encroach in that area and just kind of destroy it, right? And so I think that's why the death of the mass market paperback has been, you know, possible. Also, I think that the rise of performative collecting of books, right, like the TikTokers and the Book Talk and the even YouTube booktube, I can't speak, sorry, has made people buy mass market paperbacks less, because if I wanted to look pretty on my shelf, I'm not gonna get the little crappy piece. I'm gonna get the big, nice hardcover or the special, you know, normal paperback that, you know, still looks really nice and big. And I think I kind of go counter to that personally, because I actually like how mass market paperbacks look. I think that there is something really satisfying about having these like tiny little books all stacked in all different sorts of ways that looks really appealing and satisfying to me, right? That it has this sort of like beauty and clutter that I just don't feel is achievable with a book like this, right? Like, and I know this because I have a collection of books this size in my home that is all, you know, crazy and disorganized, and it's organized, but it's like all over the place, and there's something really satisfying about it. But my manga collection doesn't look as good when it's all like, you know, Tetrasified, because the books are so big, and so it just kind of looks uncomfortable, right? Although that might be, you know, a personal opinion, right? So I don't know. I think it's interesting that happened, and I'm kind of sad about it, because I prefer mass market paperbacks. I think that they are the best version possible, right? Like, if you want to talk about the ultimate reading experience, like the thing that is most accurate to reading, I think the ebook is probably that, right? Like, there's nothing in an ebook besides the text and the page, right? There is no extraordinary stuff happening around, but that's boring. The book, a physical book, gives you texture and smell and sensations that a digital platform won't, right? And to me, I think that the mass market paperback was the best version through which to get that, right? It was the lightest, it was the easiest to hold, it was the easiest to take with you, and it's the least cumbersome, honestly, because if I hold my book like this, right? This is insanely easy to do. I cannot do that with a hardcover, And although I can do it with a normal size book, it's like slightly more unwieldy, right? Like it flips up and flops all over the place, even though I'm holding it properly, right? And so it's less enjoyable for me. It causes me to have more things to worry about, and that's kind of distracting, right? So those are my thoughts on mass market paperbacks and why I think that they kind of disappeared, and why I like the mass market paperback better. Ultimately, I don't think that they're going to come back, and that's sad to me. I'm disappointed in that. However, I think it's fine. It'll be okay. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you thought down below, and thank you once again. See you guys later.